The elephant in the room is being alive, is the happening. That is the elephant in the room. See, what is terrifying? Terrifying for a human, for a person, is death. And so right at the heart of everything is nothing.
God. I don't even know if this is reality now. It's not, is it?
All understanding is blown apart, all safe ground, time, space, everything is destroyed.
With these moments, I describe them as existential shock. Shock isn't a positive word necessarily.
I feel sort of pleased with myself and vaguely heroic.
Scatters and the seabirds sing.
Exercise is the most disgusting thing on the planet.
So why should we fear what travel brings? What were we hoping to get out of this? Some kind of momentary bliss.
So I'd like you to just kind of introduce yourself and then tell me what you think.
My name is Frank, I'm 44, I'm married with 3 kids. I'm interested in film and creative endeavours.
I don't think this is ivory, actually. I don't know what it is, but I doubt it's ivory. Anyway, this is a cat. I'm 59 years old. Made in Newcastle under Lyme by quite a famous clockmaker.
Cockmaker?
Not a cockmaker, a clockmaker.
Yeah. Alright, chill out. Who am I talking to?
I don't know, did you write the question? What did you want from me?
I need to have an idea who I'm talking to. What's my motivation?
Did you write this?
Yeah, I did. I have an entrepreneurial past and I can plunge into things in an Aspergian type of way where the whole world is blocked out and I get totally lost in things.
I've lived in London for over 30 years and now I live in Paris.
My name, I can't even say my name is. My name is Boris.
I'm absolutely certain about nothing. And the only reason I would be making a point is want to try and convince you. I just don't believe what anybody else says, but I don't have a clue myself.
I smoke at the moment. I drink relatively heavily, more heavily than I would imagine doctors would advise me to.
I have a cautious interest in psychedelics.
I'm 45 years old. I live on the south coast of England. This is a musical money box that was given to me by a pub landlord in Wiesbaden in Germany when I was about 10 or 11 years old. I am a filmmaker, editor, cameraman, husband, father.
You know, my parents got divorced, I've been married twice, and there's a lot of other stuff that's sort of attached to the story of my life, but it's like a suit that I've, either put on too much weight or lost too much weight. It doesn't fit.
You seem to be kind of a bit blank, but also the other
Yeah,
thing...
but I am blank.
Okay, but I'm just
Fuck's
helping you
sake.
to get through this.
I'm kind of tired about what I think about myself, my own ideas, and the thing that I am most interested in is being alive. I don't really know what I'm looking for. Don't really know what I want. And I am not so sure that what I think I want is what I want.
Yeah, I'm a bit bored with the person I've apparently become, to be honest. I think that sentiment is probably the biggest thing that interests me around the project that we're undertaking, in fact.
Everybody at the same time just seemed to be a bit of a, yeah, let's do this. And how do we go about doing it?
Psychedelics are somewhat difficult to define. There's kind of some very fuzzy categories, essentially, but they are substances which have profound qualitative changes on a person's state of consciousness.
I would say I was a psychedelic virgin. Yeah, let's leave it like that.
I don't have much experience with psychedelics. I don't know what to expect from taking them.
Taking ayahuasca, magic mushrooms and LSD. Before I took them, I was very excited about the idea of taking them. Now that I've taken them, I'm a lot more cautious.
Unlike something like cocaine or coffee, which may have quantitative changes to your kind of, levels of arousal and general physiological state of being, psychedelics will affect all areas of your consciousness, from your sense of self, your sense of time, your emotions, your cognitions, your awareness, your perceptions in profound qualitative ways.
I do believe in science, and I certainly don't believe in magic and gods and all that. And I like evidence on my toast.
I don't know if he'd agree with me, but possibly he might call himself a material atheist. He believes in the nuts and bolts of reality, and that we might find out what consciousness is one day.
I mean, I think, we are investigating to some extent the idea of the dissolution of self.
And you see, this idea of the loss of self, I don't stop thinking about this, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's a constant thing in my mind, this idea of self and no self.
5-MeO-DMT is currently believed to be one of, if not the most powerful psychedelic substances in the world. That's what we decided we were going to do.
It's a seriously interesting thing to go and take this. It almost, talking about it kind of makes life seem funny. What the fuck, like, it's in a toad? The strongest psychedelic that opens up the keys to the universe and explodes you into everything, and that you experience life and death at the same time, and you see through all that, you see through the veil, you see what's on the other side, and it's in a toad. I think, fuck.
As preparation for that, particularly I think for Boris and I, we decided that it would be a good idea to share in a psychedelic experience together.
The guys hadn't done mushrooms before, and I think we decided to do them as a kind of a way to get to know each other, a way to kind of experience a psychedelic together for the first time.
And given that, if you like, the 5-MeO-DMT is the pinnacle, is the summit, it was the kind of Mount Everest of psychedelics, in our mind anyway, it seemed to make sense that some preparatory work, training if you like, would probably be a good idea.
I'm very excited about doing a psychedelic trip. I think I'm pretty strong-minded, despite having social anxiety. I'm not afraid of exploring those possibilities that the mind, or whatever it is, can show me, because it's like a dream. It just, you see it and then it passes.
I suppose my biggest fear is coming out of it changed in some way, or affected in a way that I can't get back to where I am.
I think they're probably a little bit optimistic, pessimistic, whatever. I'm more realistic about it. I still am afraid of damaging myself, because it is entering the unknown. It is entering into a new... Well, it's jumping out of an airplane.
Do you think what we're going to be doing, taking a dose of mushrooms, is like jumping out of an aeroplane?
A bit, I do, yeah. There's plenty of me that doesn't want to do it. I mean, I think I'm only doing it because of the fact we're doing the film, and also...
That's not true.
No, there's a bit of me that feels it's probably the right time in my life to do it. I think that's my main thing. It feels like it could be something really worthwhile to do at this moment in time.
Yeah.
But I've never felt the need to do it previously, and I've always looked slightly down my nose at people who tell me about, their psychedelic drug experiences. I've found that extremely boring.
I've read so many things where people will go, wow, I took a psychedelic and the world is amazing. And I'm at one with nature and the planet's amazing. And maybe that's a preferred state of being for me than feeling grumpy and getting old and sluggish and tired. I tell my wife everything, and we didn't talk about the fact that I was going away to do magic mushrooms. There's definitely a thing there where she has an issue with it. So I was kind of feeling guilty about that. But then when I got on the plane, kind of excited about just getting away for a weekend, and that nervous kind of excitement about knowing that we were going to get up to a bit of devilment.
We arranged a location, and Boris, Frank, me, and Kenneth, who was there as our sort of minder, set off, and that was the first time I'd met Frank face to face.
I think I was conscious of how the four of us going to get on for the few days. It's kind of, are we all going to get on well? That's kind of important, especially given that we were going to take psychedelics together. So I thought it was kind of nice chat on the way. I thought there was an interesting dynamic between Boris and Charles. They kind of had this known each other for ages relationship, so that they, like a husband and wife, that they would say anything to each other.
What do you mean I've got premium price?
Because I think I pay $9.99 a month for Apple Music.
I've got family membership.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but
as
what
far
I'm
as
saying is I can
concerned, that is-
download any track I want.
I don't think you can.
What do you mean you don't think I can? I'm telling you I can.
You mean download it onto your computer? What I would do is here, look.
Right.
I'm going to do
Tell you what I would do.
I'm going in. I'm not fucking around here, Frank.
I would sit on this here.
No, hang on, guys.
Wait.
Just relax.
I
You're
would
losing around.
sit.
That's where I'm going, yeah.
Right. The camaraderie and experience of going for a swim in the river, and that we all got in, that was nice. I enjoyed that. And yet still in the back of all of our minds, the elephant in the room was the build-up to taking these magic mushrooms. And, I noticed Charles went off on his own. I kind of tried to talk to him. He was afraid. I was trying to see, could I do something to help? I think that gave me something to do as opposed to be nervous about them.
She's from the same scene as these guys. We had a nice conversation the first evening we were there. It's like Goodfellas.
I have a backup.
General chit-chat about what we were expecting, what it might be like. I mean, Frank done psilocybin before, and so it was in a good position to tell Boris and I a little bit about what to expect. I think from my perspective, I was pretty nervous.
A lot of the research is saying that it seems to be that the centre of the brain that organises the self, and that the self is part of, that seems to affect that and it falls away. So it's a very, very common report from it that there was no sense of self.
In their mind, they were asking all these questions and it's impossible to describe until you've actually done them. So that's why the great unsaid about the journey inside is that
It's no fun.
It
we didn't have me say it's no fun.
It can encompass fun, but it's everything.
I'm going to have the best trip ever tomorrow.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, but it's fine. I already figured it's going to be hell. I already figured.
You're fucked anyway.
I already figured that.
You are fucked.
I'm not holding your hand. I'm not holding your hand.
I mean,
I'm
you
not
will.
fucking holding your hand.
There's no.
I already figured.
Me and you are not holding hands.
I will give you. They put the parachute on you. They make everything absolutely as secure and perfect that you can possibly have. But then, at the last second, you're thrown off an airplane. Now, what happens after that? Most things in life, you kind of can go, okay, well, I'm going to stop this discomfort now. I'm going to get out of, I'm going to stop running, I'm going to stop the cold water, I'm going to stop talking to whoever it is. Whatever scenario, I'm going to end it. Whereas when you're on the psychedelic trip, there's no way out. That's the only, you can't get out of it.
We all sat around together and measured out the mushrooms.
Okay.
I think I had 5 grams, which seemed like a lot to me, and what was apparently a sort of reasonable amount for a solid trip, so to speak.
Frank and I had 6 to 7 dried grams, because I was half convinced that nothing much would happen.
And I was quite surprised how quickly the kind of rush, if you like, came on. What drugs? Out of my mind on drugs, mummy. Okay, so just consumed my little batch about 10 minutes ago.
I'm interested about going with this way, but obviously I'll take off my glasses.
And just been for a pee, and there's kind of some light coming through the window and onto, it's all yellow and golden and rather beautiful.
See, my inclination is to go running outside now, or just to go outside. That's how I would feel about this now. I suppose staying in the room, I can feel the world closing in almost.
I can feel stuff happening. No idea what to expect, and just full of hope in a way.
Boris at the start was really excited. I think he's like hearing about a new sweet shop that was coming to the town.
It's just a intense curiosity that I'm feeling, so I'm looking forward to it.
At one point he was worried, well, I mean, is this going to work on me? You know, will this have any effect? I don't know if this is going to have any effect on me.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel strange now.
Right.
So there's still seems to be a delay in the airport, and but the plane is probably going to take off very shortly. So just wanted to say thanks for everything. There is a placebo thing of having taken something and you're wondering has it affected you or not. But when it actually arrives in the system, it's kind of like, you know, when the doorbell rings.
Yeah, I can see you looking at the grain on the table. It's sort of going, woo.
During the first sort of half an hour or an hour, 40 minutes, let's say, I mean, it's impossible to keep track of time, but I would estimate it to be about 30 minutes or so. I fairly quickly sort of moved off into my own space, which was initially under sort of down a little hole and type in the garden underneath some more trees. I was lying on my back looking up at the sky. It was just very intense visual. I mean, it was like slightly like looking at something that's been filmed in 3D, but you're not wearing your 3D glasses. It was a bit like that. It's so abnormal to one's everyday perception of how the world is.
The one thing that was coming through for everybody was this pulsating natural energy of that in everything that seemed to blow everyone away. Frank kind of gets this incredible energy seems to come in, and it's all about boundless nature and just this whoa, which is interesting.
I get all this vivid sort of language of, you know, Shakespearean thing of life as a play, you know, told by an idiot, signifying absolutely fucking nothing. For Charles, his was obviously going to become inward, and I wasn't quite sure how Boris was taking to it. He was kind of laughing, and then he'd become fixated on things, and it does rapidly become an inward thing.
Eventually I went inside and lay down on a bed.
I didn't really want to go inside the house. It was almost like going inside the house was going to make me, I was going to have to go really inward, and I didn't really want to.
How long was this going for then?
Boris was sort of, that for me was quite freaky, sometimes slightly worrying.
If this doesn't record what's happening, if this doesn't record...
The role I was in then was almost like checking on everyone, and then this Bilbo Baggins came. I became Bilbo Baggins because I'd taken my shoes off.
Okay, you've been there before, I know. Bilbo.
Bilbo Baggins.
You fucking stop it! Did you say that?
No.
You did. And the music starts. That is fucking genius, alright. It's trying to show me something. No, it's not. Because it's not saying anything. I'm going to press record.
It was like he had reverted to a sort of naughty Boris child. And all his normal sort of social filters and behaviours and things had been removed. And he was sort of wandering around the house with a sort of fairly heavy dose of Tourette's.
Trouble! I'm in trouble. Okay, I'm going to be sensible for a couple of minutes. Because this is bonkers. Wowzers. As you paid attention to anything in particular, you got lost. It transformed and you just got lost in the layers of it.
It's close to psychotic break, the experience of psychedelics, because it does break the mind and breaks all the knowns apart.
It was quite obvious that everyone felt caught at some point in a loop, and that for certain people that loop, it felt like that there was no escape from that loop.
I pressed that, didn't I? Bilbo. You did not say that. That is amazing. Oh, this isn't real. Did I press record on the camera? Oh, it's so impressive. It's so impressive. It's just... how many times has this happened? You alright, Kate? Come on.
If I'd engaged with Boris, I could have got caught in that loop, and I felt, well, that was his loop. But do you know what I mean by that? That it had an impact in the house. It was an element of the Mad Hatter house that he was as far as I was concerned, he was the insane asylum in this house.
Okay, I did press record now. I know I fucking pressed record on this camera. multi-dimensional sandwich bags. Sandwich bags. And the music's playing again. Fucking hell, man. That is so impressive.
It did seem he was a little bit concerned that was he ever going to get out of this, and would he ever be able to get back to, his family and the people he loved.
But where's my daughters?
Where are they? I know.
What?
I'll tell you the thing the thing that I slightly miss about the...
you.
What noise?
What?
No, the thing
You're confused about the night.
I just want this very dark. That's it. Is that too
What?
bright? How do I dial that down?
You seem to have this incredible intelligence,
Yeah, I
Charles.
know. It's mad. It's because I'm absolutely infested by the shroom. The shroom is running...
But we're not going to be able to tell anyone about it.
I am. I'm going to remember it all.
Are you?
It was like, if you watch a Star Trek film and you appear to be on the same spaceship with the same crew, but you know that they're not the real crew, and you're going around trying to test what you can do to get a reaction out of them.
Frank.
Yes, Boris. What? What?
Turn the telly on.
Can I what?
Can you try and turn the telly on?
I'm not Albert Einstein. I'm recording something to camera here.
Are you?
And it's fucking gold as well.
Yeah.
For Charles, then it was more, I'm on a journey. This is a journey that I'm being guided on. That seemed to be what was being said. I'm being guided on this, and it's totally fine. I'm totally safe, and I'm just going to go wherever I'm taken.
I don't know. What do I think? I think it was a very loving and warm experience for me, and I felt totally safe and in the hands of the mushroom.
I mean, I try to impart at least my experience of it, but it's still impossible until you're in it to realise what it's really like. Fucking hell, I'm so happy to be back. Is this back? Are we back?
No, we're back. That's what happened, man. It feels like waves. You're like, am I really
Jesus Christ.
back? What a fucking journey, then.
Because I was convinced that it was possible that maybe I wasn't going to be allowed to come back.
You can be breathing and living and all the sort of functionality of your body's going on, but just the perception in your brain of how the world is just completely altered.
It's not a wishy-washy dream. You're there, you're in it, and it's impressive. I mean, I have the same thoughts I had about it before, in the sense of that you proceed with absolute caution with a substance that opens you up to the world and nature and life and friendship and everything, and absolutely zero at the same time. So it's a full-on lived thing. What happened in this experience, if it was going to teach me anything, it was that I can be a lot more open and free with, sharing more honestly. I can say for me that it's a wonderful experience and a terrible experience.
It was a sense that I had been plugged in to the mycelium matrix. And if someone said to me, aliens are here, and they have been here a very long time, and they're called mushrooms or mycelium, I'd totally buy into that.
I think that mushrooms were definitely a shock, that the humble little mushroom could have such a dramatic impact.
I had the sort of sense that, the mushroom was saying, well, we are the power, and at some point, effectively when you die, you'll be coming back to us, in the form of mould, which I quite like.
You say when now? We ended up on the same page, more or less, whilst I might have had some other experiences, more or less. Our psychedelic journeys were very close after taking a heroic dose of mushrooms. They call it the dart. It goes from grey. The unfathomable love of everything. I enter nothing, nothing entered me.
5-MeO-DMT, its full chemical name is 5-methoxydimethyltryptamine. It's chemically similar to dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT, more fully known as NN-DMT. There's a small family of chemicals here which have very similar properties. They're all extremely profound and intense in their experience, but they are subjectively very different. The terror inherent within a 5-MeO experience or DMT experience is the ontological shock. You know, you're very quickly ripped from this general consensus reality, which we take as the reality, into another world which seems as real, if not more real, than this one, yet is decidedly very, very different from this world.
I know that there will be a pure terror feeling in the body because it sounds like you're gone.
I think the 5-MeO-DMT is usually given in a more ritualistic way, and we wanted to find someone a bit more neutral to avoid the stick waving and drumming and chanting that usually accompanies that kind of ceremony. What we've decided is that the 5-MeO is something that we want to try and do, isn't it?
My point is, I don't want to do it if I don't trust that person and I don't feel there's a connection with them.
It all started with Frankie writing me a letter. And typically I would have gone like, okay, they want to film something. I always had a no for this, but when I read your words, I had a yes.
But what you're saying is the only way that you're going to be satisfied with doing the next thing that we're planning to do is if you meet the physical form, Ollie, and you find him some way trustworthy.
I don't kiss people if I don't think they want to kiss me.
What? Oh, I can't do that kind of metaphorical.
Well, what can you do? I don't know how to express it.
I sent this catalogue of questions, which are basically private questions. You know, I don't ask when did you have your first orgasm or something. You know, I just want to know where you are in life. You know, how the childhood has been, medical issues, health issues. So I can see, is there any psychological or physical reason to not do it?
It does seem to kind of command the respect that it probably deserves. It's tend not to be used in a classic recreational context. People aren't going down the pub having a few pints and then taking it, and that would be extremely ill-advised as well.
You know, for example, we make films. There's a lot of value in a recce, for example.
You're just talking now.
No, I'm not. This is a summer.
I'm not the one to put a warning out here. It's just, if you have a weak heart, this drug is a no-go for you. Yeah, all those people writing me, can I buy some? Save your time.
All I'm saying is that your idea of going over there to establish whether this person is trustworthy is not an idea which I am happy with.
Why not?
I am saying...
Why not then?
I am happy. Why not? Because I don't have the time to fuck about.
Let's just get a couple of fucking pieces of the reality clear in the conversation. We found this guy on the internet.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be hanging around with us as much as we don't want to hang around with him. All that I've done is gone like this. Seems okay, lad, but you need to go and confirm. And I've gone in.
No,
But that's all
don't get me
that's-
wrong.
that
Don't get me
happened.
wrong. I'm not. I've got I'm absolutely neutral about what you and Boris have done. I think that's great, and I'll go.
I think the thing to do, Charles, is to establish through research whatever you need to do, whether that's something you want to do, because the plan is to go there and to meet up with this chap and to either do it or not do it. But we're not
When you
going
say the plan,
for a recce.
when was that the plan? And when was that not the thing? Because I missed that meeting.
We don't. I genuinely think we don't need to do any of this, and we could end the movie
Right here and now.
right here and now.
Finally, we had a talk together, and this already gave me a clue of there might be fear present.
I think back to the argument that we had in the kitchen. I remember saying that to Boris, that I may not take 5-MeO. I was really afraid of it. Because I've looked at doing it, and I've always hesitated in the past. I've had opportunities.
Really?
And I just, when it came to it, when I really thought about it, my whole body's going, no way. Because I think within the trip, you're actually able to talk to the substance, as mad as that may sound. You're able to have a conversation and say, I want to solve this, or I want to solve that, or I don't want to go down that path. Now, it depends how strong. Whereas this, it sounds like you're gone.
You feel you're having a complete loss or shift of identity. You can very quickly forget who or what you are. It very quickly takes you into some categories and realms which you could only perhaps phrase in a mystical context. And that can be, that's the intensity, that kind of jump off, off the very, very highest existential diving board. And it's a very quick and profound shift in your whole physical and mental apparatus.
Yes, 6:20.
What are the things in life that are transformative? Having kids, being very ill or being told you're very ill. I guess climbing Mount Kenya was a kind of reaction to my prostate cancer experience. Well, I think after I had cancer, I just thought it would be a life-affirming thing to do.
Okay, well, we better all...
Now you're finding it to be rewarding in that sense?
Well, I choose life, that's all I can say. Strangely, on that trip, I was super nervous, very, very nervous, and I feel very much the same about taking the 5-MeO DMT. Am I going to be able to do it? Am I going to let people down? Will I bottle it?
Everything I've heard about it sounds familiar. Like the self is gone. It sort of seemed to tally up with a memory that I had of this glimpse. I thought maybe it could be this really profound roller coaster ride, and so I was up for it, as opposed to just being a roller coaster ride. Maybe it was a roller coaster ride that could reveal this beautiful truth about the nature of who we are.
Having an experience with 5-MeO DMT can be life-changing, and typically is. You can have a 10-minute experience which can completely change your worldview. And I think people seek that out partly for that reason, but partly because, they feel they need something to really just shake up the roost and snap them out of the whatever rut they may be in.
It always comes back to this sense of what I want in the world, and so that's the biggest thing. It's what I want, and I don't know what I want, and I'm fed up listening to everything that I think that I want.
I think Frank has appeared to me, and also kind of expresses himself as someone looking for something. People might describe that as being a seeker, what's this all about? I think also he's a person who has a yearning for the essence of life, the moment, the thrill.
I think there's always this feeling of it's not enough and more and more and more. So I kind of try to go with the flow and hope that you kind of get a life that is less full of longing. Maybe after 5-MeO DMT, life will be seen here as it is, that I don't need to rely on other people's interpretation of what's happening. That's what I'm looking for, that's the truth. And I feel like I'm going to be disappointed.
If there's people say, this is the instant pill to enlightenment, that's bullshit, The thing is that some people really, they're at a point in their life where they just need a tiny push. I screen people for having a look if they are at the cliff already. I can't transport them to the cliff, They got to be at that cliff already, and then they got to jump.
As long as we can have a nice meal, though, and a glass of wine and a little cute ciggy. I don't want that psychedelic telling me not to have another ciggy. I like having the fucking ciggies. Once in a blue moon.
Take this right up here. I'll go right here.
Yeah.
Right, so this is the day before.
Night before the toad.
Nerves have started to kick in. I'm hoping I get a good night's sleep. We have to be over tomorrow morning, so we're going to be up early and we have to do a bit of travelling to get to the location. After around 800 metres, you're going to come to a crossroads, and on that crossroads you're going to take a left.
Nervous, been nervous for days. Kind of terrified.
I think I feel excited, slightly, about the prospect of doing something new.
Somebody's watching the film.
I'll stay for it.
500 metres.
There's so many different stories as to what this is, what life is, and what might come after it, what it means. I don't believe in anything. I don't see the value of explaining life away as this or that. Words are just words, aren't they? And then there's life, and that's just immediate and now. And
Okay, no, it wasn't it? Fuck's sake.
I got it wrong.
No, you got it wrong. It's fine, keep going.
As long as I'm convinced that I'm going to come back from it, you know, I'm going to come back, going to be reconstituted into broadly the same molecular structure as I was previously, then I'll probably go ahead with it.
I'm wondering right now why I'm putting myself through this, to be honest. On 240, turn off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're going to swing right back around and up onto another motorway. I get this nervous sensation in your body,
Yeah.
in your throat, and it's just good actually to go for the walk and do this.
Well, it's a bit similar to our little swing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We do a walk outside, either in the fields or in the woods. Most of our lives were inside. Yet when we come outside, we have this, getting goose skin, you know, this sudden feeling of, I am alive. I used to say like 5-MeO-DMT is liquid sunshine, because you go into that and you dissolve in the sun. That's kind of like the visual and the physical, the felt sensation.
The onset is also very, very swift. People feel in the very first few seconds that they're actually dying. You know, this is it, I've done it this time. Oh dear, I'm dead.
It sounds a bit frightening, and because I'd like to come back, you know, a bit like you had that, because I'd like to see the people I love again.
If it helps you, you know, I've been doing this with people beyond 70. I work in a dose range between 12 and 15 milligrams. So I also have the option, you know, to give you 1 or 2 milligrams less. Sounds little, you know, but makes a change.
Yeah, I think
so
I'd like to go for a less than a...
yeah, we gotta see that you get what you came for, you know.
Yeah.
So, but we will find out that I do all of this like the whole world.
A part of me was doing it for the adventure, but a part of me was doing it trying to take something out of it. Maybe I'll get something that will make me not want to feel the need to do these things again or seek for something other again.
In core, the psychedelic experience for me is all about giving further the information that the mind isn't that much of a business, and that the only one want to get rid of the mind is the mind itself.
He's not a fan, you know, and he knows that you are here. He's also a little bit more, he's a little bit more shy when people are around.
Someone writes me, can I buy some? Yeah, they're even asking, can I buy a toad? Yeah, so how dare, you know? How would I sell my bodies? You know, yes, have one of my children too, for sure. Okay, serious, yeah. So no way. This is Francesca. This is swimming down there is little Leslie, and here we have Rita, I guess, and there hides the little boy, Ringo.
I was slightly committed to the toad. I kind of thought that's what we were going to do, but in the end we ended up doing synthesized 5-MeO DMT.
In the beginning, I surely started also to use the secretion of the Bufo alvarius toads living at my place. This animal is not giving it freely. You know, there's no point in bugging the toad for that. They don't like it. They really don't like it. The experience is identical. If someone says differently, it's just they're making it up.
We could see that, you know, if you can have the same thing without squeezing the juice out of a living animal, then what's the question?
If I compare my state of mind just before doing the 5-MeO and just before doing the mushrooms, I was a lot more aware of the potential for this to be something very big.
You're not prepared for it. It's impossible to prepare because of the ineffable nature of it. You know, we can't even begin to verbalize the intensity of these experiences.
I didn't watch a lot of YouTube videos, I didn't read a lot about it. Kind of wish I'd known even less about it in a way, because however much you read about it will not prepare you for what actually happens.
We arrived in the house and there was an air of inevitability about everything, so I wasn't so nervous that I was the previous night.
If you let yourself get carried away with your thoughts, there's no doubt that the anxiety can just snowball.
Okay, so what's going to happen now? I'm going to film this. I'm not going to film it because I'm too tense. Obviously at some point it had to be decided in which order we were going to go.
I was kind of happy to be first. I thought Charles was great the way he was kind of going last. I would not have been able to go last.
I was very happy to be last. I think the thing that was going on in my head was that I was fearful of having a heart attack, minimum.
His age and the kind of suffering he had in his life, including cancer with 49, right, was definitely something where I saw, wow, this guy will be well delivered.
I actually went as far as writing a note to my loved ones, goodbye, I love you, kind of thing. Sort of pathetic. But I did feel kind of like someone waiting for the firing squad or the gallows.
It's 5 minutes is the core experience where you go beyond the form and you come down after 15 minutes. It's really all about the one single information, yes.
And it was straight into it then. The guys left the room and it was straight into the smoking of the pipe. He had shown us the prep. The way I was kind of worried about would I do it right, would I fuck this up?
I went into the room, I sat down, I got my body into the right position so that my head would touch the pillow as I rolled back.
I was really in, don't do this wrong. And you know, in that situation, I could have blown air into the jar.
Once I was in the space with Ollie, you know, I was super nervous. I mean, I told him I was nervous. I became much more nervous in the seconds before inhaling as well.
And so I sat up again waiting for Ollie to come in. He knelt down next to me and very quickly gave me the pipe.
I took a big inhale, did the best I possibly could in that sense. There was a little moment where he took off my glasses.
I held my breath and I slowly rolled back onto the floor, thinking nothing's happening yet. And I felt my hands touch the floor, nothing's happening yet. And then
I held it in, I lay back, and then I exhaled.
And this is where it gets tricky.
The first part was something I would never like to repeat again in my life, and I hope not to until, I'm dying.
There didn't seem to be any transition to all of a sudden being this primordial, I'm going to say primordial soup, I'm going to say that, just because it sounds similar to what I suddenly, shockingly found myself as.
I think immediately I started to, see is not the right word, but the black fractals appeared.
It was this humongous, endless pulsating alive energy that included everything.
There was a sense that, whoa, black, death, doom, the gateway to the big one. When you said there was an explosion, so really you went from exhaling to
everything.
It's just so powerful. I mean, when it comes onto you, it really, I don't think there can be anything else like it.
It was just this sense of endlessness and the idea that the sense of feeling that life or being or everything was endless, uncontainable and way beyond anything that would come out of this trapdoor.
Initially it was profoundly shocking to suddenly be everything in a kind of way that you're aware of.
All my anxiety played out in that moment. I began to panic. I thought I can't breathe because the drug is sort of coming up you and you don't recognize it in any way. Even for me, like the mushrooms came up gently and it was kind of recognized. This is not recognizable.
What happened is, a minute into the experience, he said, not screaming, not panicking really, he said, it's difficult. Ollie, please help breathing.
I definitely thought, is this death? Am I now having a heart attack, the thing that I have feared?
I'm in the furthest corner. I really try to not interact much because I believe it's all about you and your true you. So where am I involved in there? I'm just a caretaker. So I'm just a space. I'm part of this secured space. So yeah, I moved further, put my hand on his forehead. That's what I do. And I said, just breathe.
I knew that there was this idea that I had to let go of this, and the idea was to disappear. But I could tell I wasn't disappearing. I could still feel my mind at play. On the other hand, I was also kind of aware that my body had completely disappeared.
Okay, so what I remember, because that's all we can do. Okay, so this is funny because this is the mind trying to describe something in which the mind is sort of dying.
It felt like a death simulation, that's what it felt like. That someone had said, okay, here's the VR helmet, let's do the death trip.
Then on the 6th minute, I sat up. It was almost like a fight or flight moment, but I came back and Frank McCaughey came back and was totally going, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Is my head gone? Where is my head? Is my body? Have I vomited everywhere? What the fuck is going on? Because I had no concept of what this was.
And he was like, where am I? What's up? What's going on? Ollie, what is happening? And I was, it's all okay, just breathe, you know, it's all okay, it's all okay.
It was like, coming back to having a head. I think I said, have I got a mouth? Oh, my mouth is working, and there's thinking again. Oh, I can talk, I've got a body, woo!
It felt like I had, my mind was there, but it didn't feel like I had any control over it or it was connected to me in any way. And then there was another phase which was just really, worth the ticket, because it was just some moments of utter bliss. Bliss and euphoria. And it was just this incredible wash of light, I guess. And there was a sense of the people I loved, and everything was going to be all right. And now I'm going to cry. It was a sort of, it's terribly difficult to talk about because it feels so kind of cheesy, but it was very profound. And I remember saying out loud, this is bliss, this is the definition of bliss. And I remember saying out loud, this is enough to make you believe in an afterlife.
When you talk about death, to me, after this experience, it feels like death is not real, which is a nice, but that there's nowhere to go. Where do you go? There's nowhere to go. That's stunning, that's really amazing. There's nowhere to go. Wow.
As you're coming back, the mind starts getting involved again and going, how can I describe this? What am I going to say about this? Maybe I should start doing it now. Let's go back. How did this begin? Look, what did that look like? Oh, well, you can say this about it. You can, then all of this, and that's the mind sort of coming in and trying to get involved and do its thing and take ownership of the experience.
I put a blanket over my clients between the 8th and 10th minute to give this embracing feeling the mother gave us when we were getting the blanket from her, to have this warm and also be warmer, because coming out of a psychedelic experience you tend to be cold. And third is to feel the body, to have feedback of the arms and legs and the whole body, so this helps to land in the body.
And that was really lovely, sort of grounded me.
From there it was more understandable and knowable, and get my head aroundable of this is a psychedelic drug that I've just taken and it's all going to be fine.
And I started breathing again. There's no breath, there's no breathing in that space.
Is it a drug? It's a drug. It's a fucking weapon of mass destruction. It's a WMD, 5-MeO-DMT WMD.
I suspect I didn't get quite the same experience as Boris and Frank, but having spoken to them, I think my experience was fantastically special. Seemed to be totally appropriate to me. Was it what you expected?
No. I don't think I could ever have expected it.
There must be very few human experiences like that. I mean, it is absolutely extraordinary, because it's just like nothing you're prepared for, nothing you've ever experienced before. It's like kind of terror and joy all in the same thing. So, did you get what you wanted?
I got what I wanted in the sense that I came away with a couple of friends and had an amazing experience. If I'm honest, I think I don't know whether I would have liked the 5-MeO to be something else. Because it was just so much bigger than I could have imagined.
Do you take anything from it? But from the sort of banal to the more profound, do you take anything out of that?
It's amazing to not take anything out of it when I've always taken stuff out of something. I've always taken shit out of things. Oh, what can I get out of this? It's quite amazing that I haven't. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Nothing can prepare you for that. It's so mind-blowing. It's just so shocking to be in this space. There's this tiny little thought when you're plunged into this ocean of whatever, energy, like being at the bottom of the ocean. It's like, oh, this is slightly unfair because I didn't choose this. It seems like a weird thing to say, but I felt like that with the mushrooms as well. I thought this is slightly unfair to be here forever because I didn't choose to do the mushrooms and I didn't choose to do the 5-MeO. It's like, okay, I read this, I saw this video, someone told me about that, I told my friends, we said, let's get together, make a film, you know, you can trace it all back. And then all of a sudden you're like, boof.
It's not necessary, for God's sake. I was sitting here the other night thinking, you know, why am I doing this? It is not necessary to do. It's not necessary. On the other hand, it's fucking necessary. No, that's not true. It is not necessary to do. On the other hand, I feel sort of pleased with myself and vaguely heroic that I've done it.
I'd bore everybody forever if I got anything out of it. Like, I'd just go, wait till you hear this, you need to fucking do this. This is the great, wait till you can get this too. So, but I'm really, really happy that I didn't get anything out of it. But that's what, in a sense, you could say I was looking for that then, maybe.
It's nice to be back in this thing though.
Yeah.
In this real world. It's great.
No, gently the cut side,
We have
gently toasted, onions,
What we need
gherkins.
to do is put a slice of cheese on those bad boys.
Yeah, okay.
Slice of cheese.
What I've sort of come to the conclusion is that, you know, my life will now be divided between before psychedelic experiences and after. And the whole thing has been kind of more profound than I was expecting.
Since doing the 5-MeO, I've been having these kind of moments of existential shock.
I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and it's a sudden wake up and like 20 20 seconds of the MEO experience comes back, and that is this.
The thing that really gets me about that drug is the first few seconds. It is so utterly rampaging and all-enveloping and totally all-powerful that it literally takes your breath away. You know, that is literally what is happening.
You see, there is something about psychedelics that you don't want to do it again. So what I was trying to figure out, what is the thing that makes you not want, like otherwise we'd be back doing 5-MeO again.
Both the brutality and the bliss elements of it are can't be undone, is what I'm really saying. And there are some kind of consequences to that experience.
Watching people talk about their psychedelic experience can be slightly misleading because it paints a picture of something which to the mind might look very like a thing to do, like let's do this thing, and the bigger the better kind of thing.
I think if I was to issue a warning for these experiences, particularly the 5-MeO DMT, is kind of like opening Pandora's box.
It's a nuclear explosion of every concept, every idea, every reality, every tiny, tiny thing that you might hold dear is eviscerated. And that's the sting in the tail of psychedelics that I think people don't talk about. That's the no, 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 no. That's the part where people go, holy fuck.
I just wanted to go on this what seemed like it would be a big roller coaster ride, but I didn't have any expectations really. I don't think.
Boris, everything you say is valid. No.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel like I'm talking, and I don't really have any thoughts about it.
Well, why are you low? Why are you? Has it made you sad?
What does it mean that
Do
you think
sad?
I'm low in energy?
Because I haven't seen. I don't know. It's Boris's reaction to the whole thing has not really been quite what I expected, to be honest. It's hard for me to describe that, but I think it has stirred deep waters maybe more than he was maybe expecting, or maybe was expecting.
It's so shocking.
I think trauma is, can be really quite small incidents. It can be sort of small moments of rejection when you're a child. It can be huge things, it can be death and destruction, it can be loss of loved ones, it can be so many different things, but they are all moments of trauma. And the 5-MeO is a traumatic experience.
All you want to see is the beauty in life. All anyone wants is to see how amazing life is. And it's fucking scary, it's what it is.
And we'll keep talking probably for years to come. In a way, why was it so shocking?
So you'll do whatever you do, but I don't know if I would advise. I definitely wouldn't have. I would never say, why don't you try this 5-MeO thing? That's a laugh. Because I just can't fucking believe that I'm awake. We're all just looking out at this world, waking up every day, is it difficult? Is it easy? What kind of feelings do you have about your existence? I mean, look, there are amazing things about it, and there are shit things about it. But it's what? How do you turn that into one sentence that tells someone who you are or what your life is? I wouldn't want to. I couldn't do. How do you do that? I can't do that.
What I'm saying now is that I'm not looking for anything. But so then what happens is that we would look at that as a kind of a sequence of events that, you know, the Mio brought about. But I mean, I definitely can't say that either. It's like looking at a river and getting a branch, hammering it in the middle of the fastest flowing river and go, there's the river, right there at that spot. It's not the river, buddy. It's not the river. That's a twig in the river now.
Not having, what's the word, recalls or flashbacks or anything like that. So I feel fine, and I think there's many positive aspects. I do feel kind of a bit more open, and I do feel that there's been something a bit unblocked.
Yeah, and if I think back to the very start when we were talking about this and my wariness about doing it and what I wanted and what I secretly hoped to get from it all, and to hear, that's a great fucking story. It's a great story.